Well, hello and welcome to Create Yourself. This is the second installment of our programs here on this channel to help you create yourself and to build the life that you'll love. So let's get right into number two. We invite you to watch number one, which of course is right over there next to number two. But we want to talk to you today about the dynamics, and the dynamics of life are those things which will help you to create a dynamic life. And there's nothing that can do that for you. There's no substitute for it. You've got to be at this place before you can realize and can take charge of your life and get to where you want to go. So, we are about ready to jump into this for you. And we're starting with survive. And that is, of course, the basic of all life. That's the basic drive of all life, at least all successful life. Because if it wasn't surviving, then it's not going to be successful. So the first axiom, the first driving thing is to make yourself survive. And we're bringing this podcast to you from the great people at C60 Purple Power. Cliff High and his wife say it's what's kept them alive. I say it's a fountain of youth in a bottle. So go to c60purplepower.com, click on and use the code TCW10 for a great discount. But surviving really is, and it just makes sense, the lowest common denominator of the finite universe. Everything here has to have this dynamic in order to survive. If you don't want to survive, if you're not in partaking in activities that allow you to survive, you won't, and you'll be gone, and you won't be part of this world anymore. So this embraces all forms of energy, ladies and gentlemen. Now, by that, we delineate the purpose of that energy so that it now is viewable by us in the knowable field. We're talking about what we can see, feel, touch, hear, and taste right now as we talk about survive. Survive isn't spiritual. Survive isn't next level. Survive is right here, right now. So what we're talking about is learning how to survive and be a full, thriving person right here in the here and now. There's a lot of religions out there that are pie in the sky and the sweet by and by after you die. And that's all well and good, but we want something that'll help us while we're still around down here on the ground. And I've got news for you folks. If you're of no earthly good, you'll be of no heavenly good either. There's no such thing as don't worry about this life. Let yourself fall into mediocrity. Don't worry about it. Just wait for heaven to come. That's a lie. That's not real. It'll make you miserable here, and it'll set you up for a return trip for more misery, folks. So beyond the finite universe, disembodied entities have the same first axiom, that is survive. This is why they'll say and do anything in order to survive, and you can forget asking them if they're of the light. Now, even though we're talking about dealing with life here and now, we've got to learn that there are entities that are not part of life here and now. They're not part of this physical realm, and they're trying to influence us. These are the entities that populate religions like Crossianity. These are the entities that want you to believe that you're basically bad, that you're born with original sin, when you've really got the spark of divinity within. These are the entities that want you to think the best thing you can be is a sinner saved by grace, when they're trying to save you from the sin they gave you. You're born with the spark of divinity. You're born divine. You're born sovereign. You're born free, but you forget to move and use and live in that. And we're here to remind you by creating yourself that you are divine, you are sovereign, you are free, and showing you the way to live in that. Now, every single entity that would come to you, whether you call it an angel, whether you call it an ascended master, whether you call it a spirit guide, I don't care what you call it. If it's coming to you and it's giving you messaging that does not align with the fact that you need to not only survive but thrive here in this life, reject it. It's not real. And I'll go into in some depth at some other point, or if you go onto the Christian Whistleblower channel, which is linked right here on our channel, the Create Yourself channel. You'll be able to find out much more about that. But we are here, folks, to survive. And there are all sorts of other forms of energy that are here to survive. And they will tell you any lies to do everything they can to survive. Don't believe them. There's this craziness going around that says if you ask an entity, is it of the light, that it has to tell you the truth. No, it doesn't. They're lying entities. That's why they're called lying entities, because they tell lies. So until you get yourself squared away, until you get yourself to the place where you feel like you are in control of your life, until you get yourself cleared, focus on this life. Don't worry about the next life, and don't listen to things from the next life, because you've got everything you need to master this life right here with you in this life. I'm trying to help you and trying to keep you from doing silly things and winding up in bad places, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the purpose of the mind is to solve problems relating to survival. That's what we're here to do, to learn how to survive, and we take it to another level to learn how to thrive. And the ultimate success of the organism, and for these purposes, we're an organism, the ultimate success of the species, the ultimate success of life would be immortality, right? If we can live forever, that means that we survive forever. And there's some good news coming as we get deeper into this. You can do that. This is our spiritual goal. This is our spiritual destiny. But true immortality, not that offered by the rat bastard, which I call the god of Crossianity, to come back over and over in rotting flesh, because you think that you got saved. You didn't. You didn't read the contract. And I've got many videos on the Christian Whistleblower channel that talk about this contract. What you got is the right to have this dying portion of you born again and come back in flesh to rot and die again over and over and over, guaranteeing that you don't have eternal life beyond this flesh. That's the bargain you struck. That's a bad deal. With Create Yourself, you get a much better deal, because you get to decide what you want to be, and where you want to go. So the ultimate survivability of, and the ultimate manifestation of the first dynamic, survive, is immortality. And I'm here to tell you today that immortality is within our reach. And if we follow a very clearly delineated process, we can assure ourselves, I said assure ourselves, of that immortality. And we don't have to accept any entities into our hearts. We don't have to sell our souls. We don't have to give one thing away. We just have to learn that we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. And we have to learn how to, if you know you're divine, the next thing is sovereignty, taking responsibility. And then freedom means actually manifesting that sovereignty in this life. And that's what we're here to teach you how to do. Now, of course, the final failure in the first dynamic would be to die. And if you follow the ways of Christianity, the ways of Crossianity, you will die. And you'll come back again in this flesh, and you'll die again. And you'll come back again in this flesh, and you'll die again. And you'll come back again in this flesh, and you'll die again. And you'll come back again in this flesh, and you'll die again, serving this person you made this deal with. If you've been a Christian, renounce the deal. Because Create Yourself will show you how to move beyond this recycling of the recycling of death. You're failing the basic dynamic of survive, and you're failing it over and over and over and over and over again. And the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. It won't happen. This is what creates the great gulf between Crossianity, cross-clinging, and true spirituality. Cross-clinging leads you to discount this life, to ignore the very basic dynamic of survive. And it compels you to come to death, which is failure. We want to show you and to teach you and to empower you to maximize your life. We want to empower you to survive. And then by empowering you to survive, you'll be prepared to survive the failure of death by moving on to your next step in spiritual optimization. We want to get you ultimately spiritually optimized. First of all, we've got to get you physically optimized, or at the very least, we have to do them together. Now, man is the most successful organism currently in existence, at least on this planet. So you are a winner. You're a winner. Based on the dynamic of survive, you have, so you win. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Give yourself a pat on the back. You've survived. You're winning in the perpetual cosmic election, which possibly may select the thinker of the new thought. Because you're here, you got a shot. Because you survived, you got a chance to thrive. I don't care how bad your life is. I don't care how messed up the world is. I don't care if you have got one foot in the grave and the other foot on a banana peel. You still got a shot. And we're here to help you take advantage of it. And what determines your shot? Not if you're black, not if you're white, not if you're bald, not if you got hair, not if you're skinny, not if you're fat, but your own persistency. The persistency of the individual in life is directed by the strength of his basic dynamic. If you're going to do the do, it's up to you. And if I am to be, it's up to me. Your persistence, your individual persistence to the dynamic of survive will determine whether you do or don't. And there's a big difference, folks, between the dynamic and the intelligence. High intelligent people may not denote high dynamic. There's a lot of smart people in church. There's a lot of smart people following gurus that just don't get it. They've got no perception of survive. They're just waiting for the sweet by and by after they die. No, you may be waiting for the sweet by and by after you die, but true salvation starts while you're still around down here on the ground. High dynamics may not denote high intelligence. You may be kicking survive's butt, and you may not be very smart. You are in a much better position than the Einstein who can't kick survive's butt. Pat yourself on the back. You've got a chance. You'll win. They'll lose. Dynamic, folks, is the persistency of the individual in obedience to the command survive. You don't got to be a genius. You just got to be present. You got to be persistent. You got to be willing to go to work. And I think you are. And going to work, folks, means gaining things that are pleasurable. And that's what this life is all about. Pushing towards things that are pleasurable, staying away from things that are painful. And pain does give us markers that we're not doing things right. So if you seek pleasure, you avoid pain, you advance towards the ultimate goal. Pain, therefore, is the perception of a reduction towards the final defeat. In other words, if you're hurting a lot, you're dying. If you're hurting for certain because you're about to fail. So don't hate your pain. Say, oh, this pain is telling me I need to work in this area, and enjoy your pleasure because that's telling you you're doing something right. And cross-clinging perverts these concepts and is anti-survive. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. This is the Create Yourself program. We're helping you create yourself and build the life that you'll love. Check us out on the Christian Whistleblower, where we're teaching you to unindoctrinate yourself. We've also got the new Unindoctrinate Politically with Jeffrey Daugherty. We want to get you fixed up from soup to nuts, start to finish. And until next time, I am Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, saluting you for being here and having the guts to seek after truth.